Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at some of the Bitcoin mining stocks, their price action. I would assume we would see some good deals after what Bitcoin did yesterday, which was nothing too great. So if you weren't aware, Bitcoin, it was challenging this 1618 at around 102K again. That's going to be key resistance when Bitcoin gets through there. That'll be big. But since then, it's fallen about 8%. So we are definitely going to see altcoins and mining stocks fall as well, which for you means good discounts. So definitely be on the lookout for that. As far as crypto fear and greed, somehow it's still up into greed. I did refresh this. It's only down to 70. And so I've been talking about this, how we do have these spikes and with fear and greed, and usually that means the price action goes sideways or down. However, I also noted that back here before alt season, before Bitcoin really ripped off from 20K to 65K in alt season, it stayed high up into greed for about 3-4 months. So if we see a similar phenomena, and we're already been high up into greed for 2 months, then maybe bigger highs are coming in Q1, Q2 of this year. Of course, keep in perspective, these drops will happen by the time alt season does happen, which takes about a month at the peaks. That's when you'll be truly happy to be in these coins or mining stocks. So we're waiting for Bitcoin dominance to go down. This is the alt season chart. The series of higher lows, higher highs. We're still within that. And subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptos, macro cycles, and where price action tends to lead us. And so we're going to be taking a look at a handful of these, the popular ones: Marathon, Riot, Clean Spark, Wolf, and I think Cypher. We might just do 5 today. So let's get into it. Of course, Bitcoin had a pretty decent size drop, but when you take a look at things on the outside, it's still holding a weekly, as far as now, a weekly buy signal, still holding support above the 10-week moving average. We go into the daily. You can see on the daily, it spawned a big sell signal. Of course it would. That was a big move. But it is showing support on this 50-day moving average. So we have had support once, twice, 3, now 4 times on this daily moving average. And as you can see, Bitcoin is getting squeezed between this 1618 and the 50 weeks. So a move either way will probably be a strong one. What does concern me is not only did it get rejected off this channel that it used to be in, but it got rejected off the 1618 as well. So that was just too much resistance for Bitcoin to get through. And right now, you have to have this in the back of your mind that Bitcoin could get down to some of these lower moving averages, like 87K. This is a 100 moving average. Excuse me. This is the 50, and this is the 200 at around 78K. So that could happen if things were to go down. But if it is able to get above 102K, and I mean close with candle bodies and everything, not just wicks, close above, you can see once it starts closing above those resistance lines, then we start to move. And the 2618 is all the way up at 155K. So there's room to run should that happen. Bitcoin dominance still doing its thing. It has come up recently just with this move, but it is having resistance at the 50 and the 100. So let's get into the mining stocks and first get into Mara and see if Mara's at a good deal or better deal since last week. So for the sake of this video, I think I'm going to throw off the buy sell signal. One of the things we've been looking at recently is the stochastic RSI, because it was still falling on the weekly. We were here last week. And so I've been waiting for this to finish dropping and get on its way up. And just curious, let's go back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it might be only forming a base up here before coming back up again. So I just was curious to see what that looked like on Bitcoin. Back to Mara. So Mara is getting into this oversold level. As you can see, though, sometimes in the past, when it just starts to be oversold, it can go down further. So here it started to be oversold. It did go down further. So we are waiting for a reversal process. This might take a week or two, and we can take a look at the stochastic RSI flipping positive. You can take a look at that buy sell signal. I'll show what that was. It's this one, the 1020 MA crossover with Heikinashi. I like how it's basically, it shows you when the Heikinashi on the weekly or daily, whatever, is turning around, because Heikinashi is good at showing us trends. And so we still may have a little bit of room to run, but if you were to dollar cost average in around here, because we're near the 0.5 fib, we're near this trend line, near these moving averages on the weekly, I wouldn't blame you. And so when Mara got down here, I was thinking to myself, this is a pretty juicy price right here. And even if it goes lower, even if it goes to the 0.5, that's fine by me. But right now you can see it got rejected off the 100-day moving average, and now it's losing the 200. So you want to see this trend line hold support. If not, then it's the 0.5. And underneath the 0.5, there has been the series of lower lows. It could get down as low as 13. If it got down there or near the 382, I'd say this is the mindset of a market psychologist. You have to be excited. If you are buying Mara here and you feel good about that, you should feel great about getting bigger discounts down here. Just saying. Let's get into the next one. We'll get into Riot. Riot back up to number 2. Boy, how things have changed. Bitdeer was number 2. Cores was number 2 for a little bit. Riot reclaiming number 2. Love to see it. And so Riot, it's been in this descending channel and got down to these moving averages on the daily, the 200, the 100. Let's take a look at the weekly stock RSI. So that still has some room to fall. Just something to keep in mind if that has room to fall. We've seen Riot have these big plunges in this channel before. And so it is possible we could see Riot lose the 382 or get down to some of these lower levels. But if Riot got down to $7, again, great area to look to dollar cost average in and get really deep value if you love Riot. So Riot right now hanging around the 382. It still has all the daily moving averages as supports. Same with the 382 fib as well. So far so good for Riot. And next one, let's just take a quick look at cores. I wanted to address something with cores. I had a comment last week. So I talked about how one of the things I like about the mining stocks is we can see their balance sheets. And as far as the balance sheets, we have Marathon up. We can see that as a positive asset to liability ratio, 2 billion to 375 million. So very positive. When we took a look at Core Scientific, that was not the case. And so there's a comment in last week's video about, well, it still performed great. That's fine if you're able to get in on that when it's early. But these mining stocks, or any stock for that fact, it'll eventually catch up to it. So to me, that's gambling when you're taking a look at some of these. You have to do your research. And if you love the research, despite what the balance sheet says, and you get in and make money, great. But if the balance sheet is crap and we have total current assets, 92 million, total assets, 712 million, but then you see the liabilities way higher, that's too risky for me. And when we compare, and I'll show you some mining stocks from last cycle, these ones can fall very hard when crypto gets into its bear market because it doesn't have the fundamentals to hold it up. When a balance sheet is bad and the economy starts to struggle, you will see stocks like this perform far worse because they don't have that extra cash on hand. They're too busy paying off all those extra liabilities that they can't afford to do. So these stocks can quickly turn negative. As far as just TA, if that's all you care about, it is at the 100-day moving average. It got down here once before. So moving average wise, hey, if you like cores, now would be the time to consider dollar cost averaging in the next value area around $12. So just keep that in the back of your mind. The balance sheet, it does matter. let's get into CleanSpark, CLSK, and see where we are at with CleanSpark right now. So let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly still needing to bottom and reverse out on the daily. As we can see, it's lost some moving averages as supports. And so it's still holding this trend line of higher lows that it's been making. It did get underneath it a little bit on the weekly. That would probably just look like minor fake out, at least for a wick. So right here it has a doji and it's challenging the weekly moving averages. So I would wait for confirmation on this one. The stochastic flipping positive, a buy signal before getting in, because this one can very easily come back down and get towards that $9 area for a CleanSpark. And let's just do a couple more. Let's do Wolf and Cypher. And if there's any that you would really like for me to talk about for next week's video, as far as these mining stocks, there's a lot of them. Comment below and I'll make sure to feature those. So Wolf, it is bottoming out on its stock RSI. We want to see this start to flip up. We want to see those buy signals, but there's a lot of support. So to me, this is held up well. It has the 0.5 fib here at around 480. It has the 100, the 50, the 200 underneath it. You can see this positive cross, the 50 over the 100. What's going to happen when the 50 gets over the 200? That could be very good for Wolf, and then you would want to see it break that $8 area. But if Wolf comes down to this 200 area, 200 week moving average at 525, you can see people are buying that on the weekly. They had their buy orders in and we're picking that right up on that wick. When we zoom in on the daily, what does that look like? It was right below the 100. So we don't see this here on the daily time frame. That's why it's good to look at different time frames. But on the weekly, we saw that was right at the 200 week moving average. So right now, holding the 100. If you love Wolf, I don't think it's the worst area to buy. But again, I think we're in the phase now where we want the stochastic RSI to start flipping. We want those buy signals, and we want to see this start to turn around and be positive. But overall, some good support here. And then let's go to Cypher. And Cypher, I'll just add, last cycle, this is what I'm talking about, by the way, as far as how these can fall off the table. So Cypher last cycle, it came out and was looking great. You know, it was getting up to $15 here, and then it fell off 98%, all the way to 42 cents. So this is why you want to be careful with these. We're talking about these mining stocks as far as this cycle goes. And I want to, in case things go weird or sideways or unexpected in the crypto market, I'd rather have my money in stronger miners with stronger balance sheets who aren't going to lose 98% of their value in a bear market. So that's why those balance sheets matter yet again. But taking a look at the stochastic RSI, you can see it's just starting to get towards that bottoming area on the weekly. We have a number of these supports. People were buying at the 200 and the 50. They're at around 460 and 490. So those look like decent buy levels if you're looking to catch some of those deep values. And right now it is getting underneath the 100-day moving average. If you want to find that 200-day moving average and some of that deep value, again, the 200-day moving average is looking pretty good. You could look for a buy order somewhere around the 480 level. But again, this is a gaming play as far as, do you want to dollar cost average in on these moving averages, the fibs, or do you want to wait for confirmation from the stochastic RSI, the MACD? We talk about that one sometimes, the buy signals. But I would not blame anyone if they said, you know what, this is good value. Sure, I would buy it if it's down here. But if it hits this moving average, it's liked it before, I might pick up some more. That's just me thinking out loud. Something to consider as far as your dollar cost average strategy if you're looking for confirmation or you want to get good discounts and you know they don't last too long and you're looking to get in there. So anyways, that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Take care.